The Vision is dead.
Take care. Brush your hair. Bronson Reed flying through the air.
Actually, not bad rhyming that off the top of your head, Bully. I got to tell you. But would you have expected, and we'll get into possible reasons why, that 6 months in that we would see the division break up like we did last night on Monday Night Raw?
No, not at all. There was no. I don't know if there was writing on the wall. Um, it came out of nowhere. I loved the shock on Heyman's face. Is Heyman's facials over the top? Completely over the top, but completely appropriate. I love the stillness after the spear. Bronson Reed just looking on. Heyman, shock and awe on his face. Braun Breaker just looking down at Seth. No movement, very little movement. And then Bronson Reed snatches Seth by the wrist, pulls him in, bang, Tsunami Mom.
It was perfect.
It gives things a chance to breathe. You get to take it in. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, here's the spear. Oh, it's like you just witnessed a car crash right in front of you out of nowhere. Oh my God. What just happened? And then you're taking it in, right as you're coming off of that emotional rush, wham, another accident in front of you. That's the way it's, I always talk about too much movement and you don't get to digest the movement that just happened because you're on to the next movement, thus not allowing wrestling fans to respond accordingly. It's just because you're working for the pop, and the pop. It's okay to work for you want to work for reactions, but you want to allow those actions time to breathe. And that's what makes it effective. You give the fan an opportunity to take everything in. And that's what made that segment so effective to me.
I agree. And I don't think anybody saw it coming. We've seen back and forth and looks and words being exchanged. But I don't think anybody thought that Braun Breaker was going to do that to Seth Rollins and then Bronson Reed on top of it. But Bull, we're going to have to rewind just a little bit because obviously this is the first time you and I are talking after Crown Jewel. We're going to have to go back a little bit to explain what happened and maybe why it happened the way it did last night on Monday Night Raw. So we go back to Crown Jewel. First and foremost, the opening contest on Crown Jewel is Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed gets the victory on Roman Reigns. Now, Roman made sure to tell Jimmy and Jay, I don't want you out here. And then we see Jimmy and Jay go out there to help because of the numbers game and because of the vision. But Roman Reigns loses the match. He puts the blame on the Usos. And he says to Jimmy and Jay, I don't want to see you guys until Christmas. Okay? Like, guys, we got to get together. I love you guys, but you're embarrassing me. People think I can't win on my own. So they plant that little seed with Roman and the Usos. Then you fast forward to a match that we talked a lot about, and that's Cody and Seth. And leading to that match, you're seeing a little bit of dissension between Seth Rollins and Braun and Bronson and Paul Heyman. The press conference before Crown Jewel, Seth Rollins storms off and leaves Braun, Bronson, and Heyman on the stage alone. During Crown Jewel, Heyman says to Braun and Bronson, I don't want you guys interfering in this match. Let's see who the real man, the better man is. Is it Cody Rhodes or is it Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins, as we know, had a lot of doubt if he could beat Cody. He beats Cody. He doesn't need help from Paul Heyman or Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed, though he did use the watch, the Rolex watch that Cody gave him as a gift after WrestleMania 40. Then we see the beginning of Monday Night Raw last night where Seth makes it clear, I love these guys, but I don't need these guys. I won on my own. I have this championship. I won it on my own, and I beat Cody Rhodes on my own. I love Bronson Reed. I love Braun Breaker. I love Paul Heyman, but I don't need. He made it very clear, I don't need these guys. And then we get what you described at the end of that show. It felt like things with the Vision were just heating up. Like the story was just getting started. And we're seeing success from Seth Rollins, but we're also seeing a lot of success from Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. So why the breakup now? Well, we saw some kind of injury from Seth Rollins on Saturday at Crown Jewel from Cody Rhodes. But he finished the match, he won the match, and we saw him on Monday Night Raw. But it looks like there is some issue with Seth Rollins' shoulder. And now there's reports that possibly that's why we got what we got last night. But there's also the remembrance of the last time this happened with Seth Rollins coming out of Saturday night's main event with LA Knight. The injury. Was it real? Was it not real? Turns out it wasn't real. A lot of questions and a lot of plot lines when it surrounds the Vision right now, Uncle Bully.
Yeah, Dave, I agree with you. There's a lot going on. It's not easy to read the writing on the wall at this moment because of whether or not it's a real injury. Everything seems to be going great for the Vision, and then we got what we got yesterday morning. Why? Well, is this injury legitimate? I know you love to speculate. That's what we do on the show. That's what makes it fun with wrestling fans. But I don't know the direction. It's hard for me to sit here and give my expert analysis on where I think they're going. Is the injury legit? Did they have to do this to keep the Vision interesting while Seth is on the shelf? What could we, if Seth has to leave, how does he leave and we keep the momentum going? Can he just go, hey guys, I hurt my shoulder, I have to leave? Then where does that leave Braun and Bronze? It's kind of like, okay, boss, see you later. They had to, if the injury is legit, they have to do something to make Braun and Bronson as intriguing and as interesting as they were leading into this.
And it's also interesting, too, because of everything that took place and after the match that took place in the main event on Monday Night Raw.
Stop for a second. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal for Seth to come back when the injury is over and turn around to Braun Breaker and say, I understand why you did what you did. The same way I understood why Bronson hit me with 5 tsunami bombs a year ago. I get it. Seth Rollins forgave Bronson Reed. Why can't he forgive Braun Breaker? What I'm saying is there's ways out of it and to make sense of it. And when we finally got that little bit of an explanation from Seth Rollins, after I was sitting here week after week after week going, why is Seth cool with Bronson Reed? I don't get it. Well, we finally got a little something, and it was enough for us to go, all right, now we'll shut up. We got a reason. So if Seth is legit injured and he needs to be away and he comes back in a week, a month, or a year, all they got to do is give us a reason out of Seth's mouth for understanding why Bronson did. Or Seth is going to return as a monster babyface. And since Roman is not happy with the Usos, and Seth is not happy with Bronson and Braun, Seth and Roman?
Well, see, and this is what I love, and it's funny because you kind of say it like it's a dirty word, but and that's the word speculation. But I think this is what I love about pro wrestling, where I really don't know, because let's just say, for example, Bully, that Seth Rollins is legitimately injured and he's going to be out. So they set this all up because they need to go further with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and it makes sense if he's out with injury that this would happen. The main event last night was a number one contenders match for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship. So you have a match to set up Seth Rollins' next opponent, and then who knows, this World Heavyweight Championship might have to be vacated. I don't know. And again, we're not seeing or hearing anything official from the WWE, but there are little things. We saw in the match when Seth did the coast to coast on Cody, we saw him hold his arm.
That looked phenomenal.
It really, by the way,
wow.
What a great match between Seth and Cody. I mean, the talk of Crown Jewel is going to be AJ and Cena, and rightfully so. But Cody and Seth put on one hell of a main event on Saturday. But after that coast to coast, he was holding his arm, and he looked like, he was really injured. But he finished the match. And then last night, when you go back and watch it, because I know I did, and this is what fans do, Bully, we kind of dissect everything. There's a backstage conversation with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. And Heyman tugs on Seth Rollins' left arm, and you see kind of Seth kind of pull away and wince. And then you're like, and in the moment I'm thinking it's maybe because like Seth's like, get off of me, because there's been a little friction between him and Paul Heyman. But maybe it was because, ouch, you just pulled my injured left arm. And then you also have to go ahead, Bully.
But do you think Paul Heyman just happened to pull Seth Rollins' arm out of nowhere and then he winced? Or do you think that Paul Heyman tugged on Seth and you got the wince, so you just got a little bit of a seed planted that there's an injured arm here?
And I don't know. And then you have like Seth is wearing the big overcoat and then the heavy costume where, for all I know, he could have had his arm in a sling underneath all that. You don't know.
But it's like the bad guy from Indiana Jones in the leather jacket.
But I can
melts at the end.
But Bully, I can honestly say, like, we've been down this road with Seth Rollins before, where we're leading to SummerSlam, where Seth Rollins, it was all ruse. Was he injured? Was he not injured? We really didn't know. Everybody thought they knew, but they really didn't know. And then here comes Seth Rollins with the crutches, drops the crutches, cashes the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he becomes World Heavyweight Champion. This could all be part, until I hear something official from the WWE. And even if I did hear something official from the WWE, it could all be BS. You don't know. I love it. I love it. I love it.
As far as the injury is concerned, now we're not sure, because the heel has already used an injury to his advantage and pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. Is he doing it again? We don't know, but we're going to stick around and we're going to watch, because we're not sure. Is Seth Rollins constantly getting injured a way for him to constantly lure people in just to pull the wool over their eyes again? When do we believe him and when don't we believe him? This could be an elaborate, work that started with that first worked injury. No, guys, I'm really hurt this time. Remember how after Seth fooled everybody, the very next day on this show, I was like, yeah, I don't know. And I pointed out a couple of things that they didn't do the right way to fully set the hook in my mouth. And one of the biggest things was Seth going into business for himself and allowing the match to have a finish after he was hurt. You're not allowed to do that in the WWE. No, that's bad. Don't you do that. Then there were a couple of things that I saw that I went, nope, I'm not buying into this. And I'm not telling you that, I knew, I was the first to know. But I'm just saying, as a wrestler, I saw things that made me go, I don't know about this. Little tiny things that I don't expect the average Joe to see. They learned from that. I know firsthand from conversations that I've had with certain people that were involved that they learned from that. So the way that Seth walked off after last night, they could be applying everything that they learned to bait everybody back in again, only to have Seth pull the wool over everybody's eyes. Or he's really hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Bully, and that at Saturday night's main event, I could understand certain camera angles, facials that made you believe that this wasn't real. Now, we didn't see any of that on Saturday, but Bully, if Seth Rollins was legitimately injured on Saturday, we got the same outcome that we did at Saturday night's main event. They finished the match. The match was finished. So maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I honestly, and then if Seth Rollins is legitimately injured and they know that he's legitimately injured, then why go forward with a number one contenders match knowing that your world heavyweight champion is injured? So
because that's the advertised match and you still have to have a number one contender. And now maybe based on the injury, you have to take, okay. No, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to help rationalize this. He might be hurt. It might be bad, right? You advertise the number one contenders match. You stick with the match that you advertise because we're not sure if Seth is really hurt. You get your number one contender.
CM Punk.
Now, it's supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, right?
Yes.
Why would Seth Rollins take the legit spear from Braun Breaker? Why would you put yourself in harm's way like that, right?
I mean, that's
the same
one
way
for the
you
team.
put yourself, not the same way you put yourself in harm's way by taking LA Knight's finish. Right? Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. I don't. You could have said anything, and you're not crazy because this is where the speculation comes in of where they're going.
Seth faked his leg injury, didn't he?
Yes.
And he put himself in harm's way by taking LA Knight's finish. Could he be faking his arm injury and put himself in harm's way by taking Braun's finish just to make it all look good?